Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome wherever you're watching in the USA Rugby universe to the Emirates Airline 2014 National Club Championships here in Madison, Wisconsin. I am Jeff Hull, the featured rugby columnist for CNN's Bleacher Report, and for the next hour and a half, your host for a great fixture of women's rugby. I'm here with Katie, and Katie, you are a coach educator for USA Rugby. You work with the Stars and Stripes program. Tell me a little bit about what we can expect here from this fixture today.
Sure. Actually, today, couldn't ask for a better venue here at Breese Stevens Park in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. We're really looking at a number of teams that are no stranger to this level of play. We've got Chicago Northshore, who's actually won it in 2011, have had some more recent experiences where they lost to Philly in past years, and this year really looking to kind of get back to that level and have had some more recent success. Also, we have ORSU, which is Oregon Rugby Sports Union. They've come a long way and actually were the semifinalists, the runner-up last year, and lost to Atlanta women's program, who actually went on to earn promotion to the Women's Premier League final.
It looks like we're really going to see two of the top women's teams in the country and some potential, perhaps, USA Eagles talent in the mix as well. It should be a great day of rugby action. Ladies and gentlemen, pump your fists in the air. It is time for your Division I National Championships. Let's take you down to the field level for the national anthems. Ladies and gentlemen, if that doesn't get you ready for rugby on a day like this, with weather like this, on a great weekend in America, then it's time for you to take up chess. It is game time for the Division I Women's National Championship here at Breese Field in Madison, Wisconsin. Jeff Hull and Katie Wurst here with you, and we are ready for action.
Jeff, you talked a little bit earlier about the participation with some of the women's national team players, who most are actually involved in the top 50 camp that's in Greeley, Colorado right now. And we will be seeing a number of different former Eagles that'll be out here. Beckett Royce is one for Oregon to watch. Also Lisa Cheeks, usually goes by Cheeks, her last name's Butts. And then also we've got a number of different North Shore athletes. Some of the ones that we'll be missing that are pretty prominent are Jenny Liu, who will normally be seen at number 9, which we've got different players that are going to be slotting into those positions. And we also have Kate Daly is also away at the camp too. So we'll be seeing a number of different younger up-and-coming players, some of those that have been involved with the pool and right on the fringes. So it should be an exciting day.
The Jesters of Oregon in the green and gold to our broadcast left. Chicago North Shore in blue, red, and gold to our broadcast right. And referee for this match, Haley Slaughter, lifts her arm prepares to blow her whistle, and we are about to get underway. Happy to bring this match to you as part of our broadcast coverage here on USA Rugby TV. Make sure you're tweeting us at hashtag NCS2014 to root on your team and to let us know your thoughts about our national championship broadcast.
That's Adrian Acosta for ORSU taking the ball in strong.
With the level of performance that you'd expect from these women today, you want to see a wide game, a lot of controlled possession, a lot of good decision making. That's going to be the hallmark of women's Division I rugby in the United States, and we are seeing that early from Chicago Northshore. Moving with purpose, moving the ball around, creating space, and the first sign of a missed pass there, but they take it forward nonetheless. Good go forward from Chicago Northshore here early.
Actually, ORSU is going forward as Beckett Royce taking the ball up, earning some hard yards for her team. That's Adrian Acosta on the front foot going forward. It's a strong number 3 prop. Has a long history with the ORSU club. Has been playing for over 10 years. Haley Slaughter quick to blow her whistle. Just making her presence known to the team. Little bit of a conversation with the number 9 Brittany Biedenbender, who's actually a local here, originally from Wisconsin.
Alright, so let's try to get in the flow here. Jeff, we're going to be doing play-by-play, and Kaylee, we're going to use your expertise of the color commentator.
Throw into the line out, and we have a driving maul here. Chicago Northshore looking to move the ball forward, and good movement of the ball by Chicago Northshore. Forward pods moving with a purpose now, but well targeted by Oregon. Oregon's defensive line redeploying to the right as Chicago looks to move it to space, and move it they do.
Good hard work by the 2 Twin Towers forwards, Nova Raymer and Lonnie Larson.
Chicago looking to move the ball forward with a purpose. Direct lines of attack here, but a missed pass, and Chicago pouncing the ball. Oregon in possession. Good movements to space there. Offload needed, and it comes. Down the left-hand side they go. Heidi Whitman, and Oregon is going to open the scoring here in this National Division I championship game, and a little bit of contact as the ball is put down under the posts, and we have a touch judge looking at that. But still an excellent finish to that play.
You see everything started off really with Beckett Royce seeing that she had some space to work with for Heidi Whitman, taking it forward, and then really fantastic work by Franklin to come in and to provide the support that was needed. The ORSU puts the first points on the board of the day here in this Division I USA Rugby Emirates Airline National Championship Series.
Look to see if this conversion kick can be put over, and we will have a 7-0 lead, fairly routine, right in front of the posts. And Oregon looking to press their advantage here early. Through it goes, the flags go up, and we have a 7-0 Oregon lead here early in the first half.
Nice solid strike by Molly Luft.
Katie, when you're a member of a Division I team like Oregon or Chicago Northshore, how much attention are you getting from Eagle selectors? Is there Are you going to be looked at for the Eagles national pool if you perform well in tournaments like this, in a playoff series like this? Is it possible that you're certainly getting the opportunity to test yourself against some of the more talented women's athletes in club rugby?
Yes, I would agree. There's mainly a number of different avenues for people to be seen by the coaches. It is, obviously, we have a geographical challenge with the large country that we have, but the coaching staff, especially Pete Steinberg, and fortunately for Chicago Northshore, John Combe-Lilly, who's a member of that coaching staff, is also a guest coach for Chicago Northshore. So he's very connected with this Division I level. So that's another avenue that players can be seen.
Chicago set their back line. Oregon come flat in defense, and they go to the short side, looking to move the ball down the wing, making use of every ounce of space. And now they bring it forward in a forward pod, able to find space, legs pumping, moving forward. Chicago Northshore in attack. A very fine run and direct running from Chicago Northshore at this point.
That's Nicole Fish at the center position. She's really one to watch, has been contributing a number of different go-forward momentum opportunities for the Chicago Northshore team so far.
And it comes left. Chicago Northshore looking for space down the far side. It may still be there. Oregon struggling to hang on to defense, and we have a stoppage. Forward pass is the call. Haley Slaughter has her arm out, and it will be an Oregon put into the scrum.
Just prior to that forward pass, we saw some good forward momentum from Maggie Craig, who's one of 5 players that have played for the storied Penn State collegiate team prior to becoming a member of Chicago Northshore's club.
Oregon with the put into the scrum. They hold it well, but Haley Slaughter wants a reset, and she'll have a quick word. Katie, I'm right that it's the 20th anniversary of the Oregon women's program, the 40th anniversary of their men's program, a club so connected to youth rugby in their state, so much pride taken in their involvement as a community club. It must be great for their supporters to see them here today.
It's certainly a historic year for them. A number of different involved programs with the community, really highlighting the fact that it's been 20 years and 40 years. Their men's program supports the women's program, which also provides support for the youth community in general. They're very connected to the state rugby organization known as Rugby Oregon. A number of the players have even come up through the ranks and learned the game to be a part of this ORSU team in this national championship final today.
That's Molly Luff kicking the touch for Oregon Sports Union, and she has found a touch that will see Chicago Northshore have a throw into the lineout. Players down on the field already.
And it's fitting that she's actually kicking for touch and taking the conversions, because she actually was a former soccer player at Lehigh University in Pennsylvania. So she's come quite a long ways from her college days to being a part of this new sport and also being able to integrate those skills she used as a crossover athlete.
Slow movements to the lineout here as Chicago's on-field leaders want to talk about their plan in this throw into the lineout. Look at the amount of people Chicago has put into their back line. Back row players, wingers, fullbacks, centers, all looking to try and find an overlap. Oregon is going to have to watch here. If this ball moves wide, those defensive matchups are going to be crucial. And we're going to have another throw into the lineout.
Hooker Nobi Takaki is going to be taking the throw.
And here comes the catch and drive on the part of Chicago Northshore. They move it with another series of direct runs, and just a little bit of a handling error there. And it is pounced on by Oregon. They move it left, and they move it forward, and it's speed as well. Down the left-hand side they move. Possession crucial here for Oregon as they need to move the ball quickly. Piling in is Chicago Northshore, and referee Haley Slaughter has her arm out, and back goes Oregon.
Credit to Lauren Trout for really chasing down Heidi Whitman on the wing, doing what she could for her team and really stopping that momentum. A pretty crucial tackle at a moment that was needed.
Let's get ready to send it to Max.
There's the kick to touch, and we are about to head down to the field to have a little chat with Max Sikowski, who is the president of the Wisconsin Rugby Club, and our hosts, our gracious hosts here at Madison for this tournament. And Max, it must be a pleasure for Wisconsin to be the focus of the USA Rugby universe this weekend. Tell us a little bit about the reaction in the community to this event.
It's been a great event for us in the Madison community. We have some great club teams here in Madison, the Women's Rugby Club and the Madison Minotaurs, as well as the Wisconsin Rugby Club, that have partnered together to host this. Madison is truly a capital this weekend, with the high school championships as well taking place just a short ways away.
Now, could you tell our USA Rugby audience a little bit about this stadium? I mean, Breese Stadium, it reminds the casual observer a lot of Wrigley Field. It looks like a great place for rugby. It's certainly been a great venue for us here this Saturday.
Yeah, it is a great place. It's got a great history within the city of Madison. It was used for all football games and every sporting event from the 20s to the 50s. Rugby took a back seat with the condition of the grass for the past 20 years, just because it has needed a revamping, which it's going to get in August with the installation of field turf that will allow for greater accessible use for these type of events and rugby in general, being a front line with the events here.
Well, that's exciting news for the community here in Wisconsin, Max. I heard that you all have been gathering a lot of rugby artifacts and that these were presented at an event just recently. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, we have a great community. We own our own facility just outside of town that we're funding together to build the Rugby Heritage Center. We have over 3,000 artifacts that have been collected dating back to the 1920s. The goal is to highlight the great history that American football has with the rugby community, something that we believe has a big focal point for Americans in general, to see the connection that rugby does have with football here, and how the partnership started and how it can be successful in the future.
Max Sikowski, president of the Wisconsin Rugby Club, thank you so much for your job that you and your supporters have done hosting us here in Madison this weekend, and thank you for your time.
You bet, guys.
And back we go to field level, where the Oregon Rugby Union has a 7-0 lead over Chicago Northshore by virtue of a rather expansive try that was scored in the early part of this match. Chicago Northshore with the put into the scrum now, 20 meters inside the Chicago half, and we are going to see what kind of power they can generate in the scrum. Put it in, says the referee, and they do. Again down the short side, looking to use every ounce of space, and a very big tackle indeed. Dump tackle, you might say. Arms go up, voice is raised, and referee Heather Slaughter walks towards the Oregon defender.
Just a very physical tackle there by player coach Beckett Royce. I'm sure she's used to that level, being a former World Cup Eagle herself.
And referee Heather Slaughter calling players forward for a chat here. The hand does not go into the pocket, and Chicago Northshore will be the recipient of possession and a penalty, but no card issued to Oregon on that play. Katie, they may have been lucky to escape without one.
Yeah, you see Captain Tahasi Nahochi having a chat with their team, just to telling them to calm it down just a bit, and really just from speaking to some of the athletes, she really is this motivational leader and one that really knows exactly what to say at certain times to keep the calm, cool, collected format for this program that they've been known for.
Here comes the throw into the line from Chicago, and the driving maul comes again. Will they move it to the backs, or will they try their luck with a forward drive? To the backs it goes. Hard running from the Chicago number 12, but crossing is the call from referee Slaughter. And we will have an Oregon put into the scrum now, deep in their own end.
North Shore's Nicole Fish didn't look too happy about that call there by Slaughter. Really probably just an issue of timing. As we mentioned before, they're missing a couple of players on North Shore due to the top 50 camp, and actually Kate Daly usually slots in at number 10. And we've got Bristow taking on that role here, but doing a fine job so far.
A solid drive forward by Chicago Northshore, but again, Oregon come away with it. They're under pressure here in their own end. The field position is not what they might hope for. And will they kick for touch to clear? It appears that they will. And almost charged down And a bit of an aimless kick as Chicago Northshore now have a great attacking position. That was certainly not the best option that Oregon could have come up with. The ball is scrappy, the ball is loose, and again the referee's arm goes up. The quick tap penalty is away, and Chicago look to move the ball. Forward it goes through hooker Nabuko Tataki. Elizabeth Bristow, the Chicago fly half, looking to try and get her team on the front foot. She's on the ground now. A substitute is needed. And again, the pass is not going to hand, but now some space comes on the left side. The straight arm and players scrambling. We have a flag going up, and the play is put into touch. So once again, Oregon escape a Chicago attack deep in their own end, and they will have the throw into the line. A dangerous position here, Katie, because if this continues, you feel it's only a matter of time before Chicago presses their advantage. Oregon have been stuck in their own half for quite some time now.
Yes, Jeff, you saw a player to watch, Lauren Trout on North Shore's team, actually just trying to take that corner, just missed that opportunity, but saw an option and went for it. Lauren, interestingly, is actually a second-generation rugby player. Her mother and her aunt actually played the game in the 1980s, so it's great to see that there's been this tradition in these certain families, especially in the Chicagoland area.
So Haley Slaughter has called the play back to just in front of the Oregon posts, where it appears that fly half Elizabeth Bristow is going to have a shot at goal off a penalty. This to bring the score to 7-3. Keeping her lower body calm. And the flags stay down.
Good option in theory, not so much in execution.
Yeah, in a championship game like this one, Katie, those opportunities are really essential. That was, you feel, a very makeable kick for Chicago. They may come to rue that missed opportunity.
I'm sure it was a discussion probably by Coach Tisdale where they said whenever points are afforded to us to go for them.
You want to go into the opposition's half, you want to go deep into that half, and you want to come away with points. That's just basic rugby. And now comes the restart, and now comes the Chicago Northshore counterattack. They take it forward with number 8, Christian Field. And Oregon with the turnover now, looking to keep those arms free in attack, looking for the offload. And again, they find space. And again, they move into the midfield. There's an open player on the left, but little support if this ball goes to ground. Now it does. Can Chicago turn it over? A little late to the breakdown are Chicago Northshore as Oregon move the ball left again. Those offloads are coming very loose now from Oregon. Play needs to get a little tighter and a little more organized. They move it right. Good forward pod work by Oregon now, deep in Chicago's end. This is a bit of a reversal. They've been under pressure recently. Can they move the ball? They have space down the right-hand side. It's a sprint for the try line. And we have Haley Slaughter walking to the ball, and it appears as though we have a try scored.
So try awarded for San Juanita Moreno from ORSU. The whole play was set off by a great run by Anna Simons. Did a fantastic job. Really covered a long stretch of the grass there for him. And was bundled up. Northshore did well to counter and get back as much as they could to recover. And then ORSU had the presence of mind to be able to switch fields. And San Juanita saw the hole, went for it, and she earned herself a try in the corner.
A lot of the success that Oregon have come from those wide channels, Katie. They've been backing themselves, putting their heads down. Some of their more aggressive players. Certainly that run from Juanita was a special one. They've also seen their back three get involved heavily today. You get the sense that if there's an open opportunity with space out wide, that it could be a very long day for Chicago, despite all the pressure they've enjoyed in the last 10 minutes.
Certainly. San Juanito, a player that's been known for being either a wing or a center, is stepping up this year for the ORSU program and taking on more of a leadership role in the number 10 spot. Probably reflective of herself, what she does is involved with coaching, actually, powerlifting. We're Special Olympics athletes, so probably that leadership position has helped in what she does off the field into her decision-making on field.
Chicago Northshore now move with purpose back to midfield. They're going to attempt to restart here, recapture that ball, and try and reassert themselves, try and get back to some of that pressure they were enjoying just minutes ago before that quick strike by Oregon.
So North Shore finds himself down 12-0 in early minutes of the game.
It's been an interesting game so far, Katie. I mean, you really feel that Chicago have enjoyed a lot of pressure, a lot of good attacking opportunities deep. They don't seem to have the same cutting edge that Oregon enjoys, and certainly there was a lot of skill exhibited under the high ball there. Oregon moved the ball left. Forward pod up the middle, drawing in quite a lot of defenders. There's a huge overlap on the left-hand side if they can move it. Chicago now move to cover. Another forward pod. Still there's an overlap on the left-hand side. Screaming Chicago voices asking for help on defense. And the turnover comes. Oh, missed opportunity there for Rugby Oregon. As Chicago now move the ball left, looking to recapture some of that lost territory. Nervous times for Chicago as they have to be wary of the speed and attack that Oregon's been demonstrating in the wide channels. Big hits coming in from Rugby Oregon, and now the counter ruck comes, looking to turn over that ball, and they have. Danger for Chicago here on the left-hand side. And we have Juanita again looking for another score, looking to show her speed, and she has done just that. Another try for San Juanita, the fly half for Rugby Oregon, and that is going to take the lead to 17. There again, it's just a matter of Juanita putting her head down in the outside channels, Katie. Chicago not being able to cope with her pace. Mismatch as they had forwards in covering positions.
Yeah, just a fantastic individual effort there by San Juanita. She was just able to create some space. Her teammates did good work prior to her getting a ball in hand, and she went forward, took the opportunity, and she's really backed herself and done a fantastic job on this sequence.
Now, if you're Chicago, a team that has put up 22 points against Boston Rugby, a team that has put up a 15-0 score against Northern Virginia, this has to be worrying. They have not surrendered a single point in defense before this game now versus Rugby Oregon. Oregon's scoreline's far more convincing, a 56-0 victory over Denver for their last game. So if you're Chicago now, what do you have to do in order to right the ship?
Chicago's looking for an answer how they can shut down some of these more dynamic backline players. Probably a good opportunity would be increase the line speed so that they're getting up and applying more pressure, making sure that they're doing what they can to hit them behind the gain line so that they really don't have any space to work with.
So we're going to look for Chicago to restart the game here and try and recapture a little bit of momentum. It is now 19-0, and they are in a hole. Not the opening to this match that they would have hoped for, Katie. And here we have again Oregon powering forward with impressive runs, going forward before they go wide. Can Chicago's defense begin to find its feet here? And there's a turnover that might benefit them. Chicago looking to take advantage. And a scrappy ball now with bodies lying all over the place.
Number 8, captain for North Shore, Christian Field, took the ball and did what she could to recycle it.
Spin pass. Chicago looking to try and play the wide game, but they are outmatched and overlapped by Oregon's defense here. They need to, and the turnover has indeed come for Rugby Oregon, and they look to move it to the wide channels once again. Chicago is out of shape in defense. They are bulked. And Oregon sees the ball to go into touch.
Interesting sequence of number of turnovers between both sides. I think it speaks to a lot of the competitiveness that's around the breakdown and just probably a bit of the nerves that are going on in the championship final here. I think players are looking up to just watch for the defenders coming at them before they see the ball into their hands.
So we will have a Chicago throw into the lineout. And we will now have a scrum for Rugby Oregon again. So Oregon continuing to enjoy vast amounts of possession, vast amounts of attacking opportunity. And they will have another put into the scrum here at midfield. 15 minutes left to go in the first half of this Women's Division I Championship game here in Madison, Wisconsin. Thank you for joining us on USA Rugby TV. For those of us who love to tweet, follow us and tweet to us at hashtag NCS2014. You may notice a few architects also tweeting on there, but we have successfully buried the architects with our tweets throughout the day.
ORSU scrum here. Northshore known for their presence in the tight five specifically.
It really has been all Rugby Oregon the last little while, and now they move it again through the backs. Big runs at the line, asking questions of the Chicago defense, but here comes Chicago in counterattack. They move the ball wide, now displaying their speed. It's Brittany Biedenbender.
Brittany Biedenbender does a great job in front of the hometown crowd, really, to take that corner, move her. You could see the roar of the hometown group really cheering her on.
A little bit of a knock forward there. Referee says play on. Now the whistle comes. Not releasing is the call, and Rugby Oregon retreat to their own try line. Brittany Biedenbender with Chicago's finest attacking run of the day. And she's a player that's enjoyed a fine sevens career, Katie. She has a little bit of speed inside of her, and she's put that on display. And there is the result of that fine run and some very good follow-up work. Chicago threw up their arms in exultation. They have scored their first try of the match. It is 19-5 now with 13 minutes left, and that was just the boost that Chicago Northshore needed.
Certainly, Jeff. You see Biedenbender rushing over right away to congratulate her teammate, knowing very well that she had so much to do with that open field break to be able to collect that territory that they needed that ultimately resulted in the try. It's a really good momentum boost for Chicago, getting some points on the board right away. We'll see how they capitalize on this stage of the game.
We have ourselves a ball game here, ladies and gentlemen. Chicago Northshore have the try they needed. Brittany Biedenbender off that great run down the far side of the pitch set up an enormously advantageous attacking opportunity for Chicago, and they took full advantage. One of the best series of plays that they've executed in today's game, and just the boost of confidence they needed going into halftime. What would really get their tails up is to score yet another try and bring themselves that much closer to closing this match and making it a real contest. Oregon put up a marvelously high kick and chased very well, almost recovered. Some very, very good restart play from Oregon.
Picked up quickly by veteran player Lonnie Larson, but really good effort by Heidi Whitman to get up in the air. Almost recovered off the kickoff.
Oregon starting to contest the breakdowns very fiercely, but here comes Chicago again, looking to move the ball left. Spin pass, knocked forward, and you get the sense that Chicago might just be trying to play a little too ambitious, but here comes an Oregon counterattack. Chicago there in defense, well covered, and some questionable crossing. Another good tackle coming in from Chicago Northshore. Referee Haley Slaughter says there was no crossing on the play, and so the ball continues to move forward for Oregon.
Adrian Acosta from ORSU just powering forward, taking out a couple of defenders with her.
There's another knocked forward, and now the play will end.
Let's go to it now. Shannon, downstairs.
Okay, we're going to go down to the sidelines with Shannon Bustios. Shannon, what's the story?
Hi, Jeff and Katie. Just as you mentioned earlier in the games previous, that rugby can be a very simple game, and basically you just have to have possession of the ball and move forward. And you want to have that possession and move forward on offense, and you want to move forward to regain that possession on defense. And we saw a perfect example where Brittany Biedenbender got the ball. She took advantage of that turnover, which is normally the #1 way that people score in rugby games. And I agree with Katie that may have gotten the nerves settled a little bit from Chicago. I know they're missing Lou and Daly, who have been kind of the foundation for their team. And with them being gone, they may be a little bit shaky, but it looks like they might be starting to get it together.
Thanks so much, Shannon. And getting it together, they will have to, because they are now under the gun in their own end.
Northshore will be looking for a big defensive stand here.
Chicago will have the throw into the line out. They do come down with it and look to drive to create some space. Clearance kick, likely. Again, scrappy at the breakdown. Referee Haley Slaughter sees nothing she has a problem with, and up goes the clearance kick, but not very well cleared. It goes to space, and Oregon look to move the ball. They have numbers out left and an overlap. They need to move the ball quickly. Now Chicago see the danger and move to counter. The ball is slow, and Oregon now look to move it left. There's still an overlap there, and now it moves down the left-hand side, and a breakaway. A little bit of effort needed, and it's going to be a hard decision. We have the touch judge walking onto the field to confer with referee Haley Slaughter as to whether or not that was a try, and a knock forward is called. And Crystal Franklin, the number 11 for Oregon, using her winger speed down the left-hand side of the pitch and dragged into touch. That's been the story of this first half, Katie, is Oregon's speed in those wide channels, really exploiting the space when it comes, counter-attacking very, very well, and catching the Chicago defense sleeping sometimes.
They're really playing a fantastic wide game, using as much of the field as we can. Kind of a player that isn't getting as much credit as she deserves is Heidi Whitman, really doing hard yards to make sure that she can exploit the spaces through that wide game that they're trying to play, and always really quick with the offload to move the ball forward.
So Chicago number 9, Dorothy Prickett, stands with the ball ready for a Chicago put into the scrum in their own end. Chicago has been under pressure more times than we can count here in this first half. That moment where they scored their only try of the match was a big boost for them. And that's a very positive kick. They're going to need the chase now. An effective kick needs an effective chase. And again, Oregon are going to look to counter, and counter they do. There's space down the right-hand side. It's Juanita again using her speed, looking to get Oregon moving forward in attack. They need to move the ball left. Chicago is bunched in defense, and the whistle comes. Referee Haley Slaughter marching Oregon backwards. Chicago are going to enjoy a penalty here and a chance to clear their lines. Clock starting to tick down into this match, and I think the threat is very clear in the minds of Chicago now, Katie, that whenever there's a turnover, whenever there is that bit of space, Oregon are going to look to move the ball wide and try and score in those corners.
Certainly think Oregon really has the number on the push defense that they're making an attempt to run, but really they're just too quick, and Northshore is not really getting the line speed they need to shut them down and push them behind the game line. So probably at halftime making a couple of corrections, seeing what they can do to hang with the speed and dynamic nature of these backline players that they have in Oregon.
Yubuku Takaki puts the ball in for Chicago Northshore. Their forwards drive forward, and now comes the clearance kick, but this is just going to give Oregon's backs a chance to counter, and counter they do. They move the ball wide. The chase is fairly good from Chicago, but forward comes Oregon. They look for the overlap on the left, and positive play, looking to keep their arms free. Crystal Franklin, again on the wing, looking to use her speed. Forward pod now for Oregon, and through they come, another break. It is the open side. Rachel Johnson, offload. Now a frantic display under the post, and we have another try for Oregon. We'll try and get the number of the try scorer for you. I believe it was Rachel Johnson.
Look at that beautiful line break there by Johnson.
In fact, there it was. It was Campbell Butcher, the starting hooker for Oregon, who finished off that play. A fantastic offload, a searing break. Oregon are finding the spaces out wide, and more worrying for Chicago, Katie, as they seem to be finding them now in the middle of the field.
Yep, you love to see. It speaks to the versatility of this ORSU team here. When you see your hooker coming off to provide support for your back row player, I mean, this group is just mobile in every corner that they have on the field.
It's Molly Luft who is going to attempt to expand an already formidable ORSU lead, taking them up to 26 points on the day. And although Chicago had a moment of exhilaration with that try, Katie, you begin to wonder exactly how they're going to dig their way out of the hole that they've dug themselves in the first half. They just can't seem to contain the speed and agility of Oregon and the outside channels, and that has been the story of the first half.
Yes, Jeff, every time that Northshore takes a step forward, it seems that ORSU kind of reaches in and finds a new weapon in their arsenal that they're able to deploy. Really, we saw Rachel Johnson's another player to watch, a former U23 Grizzlies player, so she's no stranger to upper level participation.
And so much of the U.S. national club game, Katie, is about moving talented players onto higher levels of rugby. This team, you've mentioned previously, Oregon has played in the Women's Premier League before, a team that has chosen not to go up there largely for geographic, financial reasons. They're simply very isolated in that corner of the country. It's very difficult for them to find opposition. Again, they're on attack here, and we'll tell you more on that story in a moment. It is Juanita, and she has been a formidable presence. My vote certainly for the most influential player in the first half for Oregon, and effectively taken into touch, but once again, Oregon continuing to find space, continuing to use their speed in the wide channels. So just a little more on the situation with rugby in the state of Oregon. This team, having been in the Women's Premier League for 2 seasons early on, has chosen to play in Division I, again, largely for geographic and financial reasons, but still a formidable force, Katie, and one that's fully capable of developing talent. Their connection to their youth program is something they take a lot of pride in.
Yes, Jeff, and you saw in that replay, actually, this was one opportunity that Lauren Trout was able to chase down San Juanita Moreno. She's been giving her a headache all day, and really good on Trout for not giving up and sticking with it.
One more break and one more huge run for Oregon, powering into the midfield. Big hits coming in from Chicago, desperately trying to disrupt, and they do. But there seems to be no end to the amount of dynamic running that Oregon have brought to this game. They certainly are not lacking in fitness. And once that, you see the fullback for Oregon, Heidi Whitman, and she was pumping her legs very hard into the midfield there, looking for that offload. We saw such a beautiful offload combination on that Campbell Butcher try just a little while ago. Rugby Oregon looking very, very strong here.
Yeah, so Whitman actually going opposite sides of the field. Really, it just shows that game plan that they're running is really to spread the ball wide as much as we can to tire out the North Shore team, which has traditionally been more forward-oriented. so far this tactic is really working.
1 minute left in the first half, and already Chicago find themselves in a very disadvantageous position. This is not the first half that they would have wanted. You know, they looked very, very formidable down when they had Oregon under pressure deep in their own end, but that has not been the case in quite some time. And Oregon, again now applying pressure to Chicago, looking to secure yet another try, looking to expand that lead over the 30-point mark. A dive for the line, and we have a flag up, so they will not have succeeded on that attempt. A Chicago throwing a line out, but Katie, it appears already that Chicago are going to have to make some serious halftime adjustments if they want to close this gap in the second half.
Probably an issue, too, of communicating with each other. You saw at least a couple of different opportunities, and one phase that I saw that was really positive for Northshore was Biedenbender trusted that her inside player would be able to get the tackle, and she did it, which was just a move that they need to probably have conversation with at halftime about trust your inside, make sure that you stick to your man, and force them outside as much as you can.
Brittany Biedenbender, of course, having displayed some fine speed of herself, but Chicago now reeling under waves of attack from Rugby, Oregon. There's the touchdown. There's the try for Crystal Franklin, her second of the day. And Rugby from Oregon is just coming in waves now, waves of attack.
So a fantastic job there by Anna Simons. Had the presence of mind to quick move the ball, and Franklin came rushing on. Really, the story of this ORSU team has been all about support and quick ball movement, and it's really coming through on the scoreboard for them.
I think this is one of those moments where if you're in the Chicago Northshore huddle, you have to be looking around at your teammates, asking yourself, okay, what would the team we want to be do in this situation? Are we going to drop our heads? Are we going to allow tries to be run in at this pace for the rest of the game? Or are we going to try and tighten this game up to play like we know we can and to really give this Oregon team the test that they came here for? So that conversation is almost certainly happening under the Chicago post right now. But as time runs out in this half, this kick coming from Molly Luft is going to be the final word in the first half. It sails wide, and the final score in the first half here in this Division I Women's Championship game, now 29-5, as we bring you back up here to the broadcast booth. And Katie, this can't have been the game that Chicago wanted. They really, I would have thought, expected to really put Oregon under a lot more pressure than they've been able to.
I think really the story is just the success of the ORSU program. They have just, as we mentioned, too many different tools that they can use on the field, especially their backline is absolutely on fire right now. And what's fantastic to see is that they're integrating some of their tight five forwards as well, too. There's been at least 2 tries scored off of support from tight five forwards running off of backline players making fantastic break lines.
You know a lot about the Oregon program. What are the advantages to being a bit of a rugby island in onto yourself? You're out there in Oregon. It's a tight-knit community. These girls spend a lot of time together, working with youth programs, everybody pulling in the same direction. What kind of culture does that bring, and how does that affect the rugby play on the field?
Sure. The space that they have dedicated is actually known as Fuller's Farm, and it's a location which they've been working on an expansion project to provide new facilities, provide opportunities for new players to come in. They also aren't necessarily isolated. They have a number of great teams in the Seattle area, Seattle Mudhens, Seattle Breakers too, that have really been traditional rivals for them, and ORSU's been just using that and feeding off of it. So anytime that you're in a region with women's rugby where there's a number of good quality programs, things go better.
Now looking at some of the highlights that occurred in the first half, and of course those breaks coming from Oregon on the wings. Players like Juanita running their legs off here today, searching and finding gaps almost at will through the Chicago defense. So it's been an outstanding display from Oregon, and a bit of a trying time for Chicago Northshore. But as we mentioned, I'm sure that discussion is going down right now in the Chicago huddle. Katie, what would you be saying to them if you were coaching them at this point?
I think I would be talking to their back line just about making sure that we increase the line speed, do what we can to make them second guess their ability to take the corner on them. If you look at players like San Juanita and Heidi Whitman, a couple others that really just have the pace, it's about making sure that you put the pressure on them until they even get the ball in their hands.
So it's really about shutting down those players before they get in open space. You know, how much do we have to worry about allowing turnovers if you're Chicago? I mean, that's where a lot of these tries from Oregon have been coming from.
Well, certainly, if you don't have the ball, you can't score, Jeff.
Okay, so we're going to move on and take a bit of a break now and wrap up our coverage of the first half. We'll be back in a few minutes with the second half of this Division I championship match. Hey, welcome back to this USA TV coverage of the Women's Division I National Championship game here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Jeff Hull, the featured rugby columnist for CNN's Bleacher Report, and I'm here with Katie Wurst, IRB coach educator. And Katie, I myself have been educated a little bit via Twitter in the last little while. Apparently, I have been misquoting the names of the Oregon Rugby Union and Rugby Oregon, which is of course the state rugby organization. That is just something that will happen occasionally, ladies and gentlemen, when you're putting together 8 hours of consecutive rugby coverage, as we do for you here at USA Rugby TV, because we love the USA Rugby universe. So apologies to my good friends in Oregon. Of course, we have great respect for both the state organization and this ORSU club that has put forward such an amazing effort here today. Just for those of you who are on Twitter, a couple of good ideas. Why don't you use our hashtag NCS2014 to tweet us your thoughts on who should be the MVP today. We'll have a few of those for you during our broadcast, and we will have an MVP presentation at the end of this championship game. Katie, right now, it would be a tough decision to choose from. ORSU has been shooting the lights out with their attacks.
I think you've got hard-pressed to choose from a number of different attacking backline players. We saw San Juanita Moreno really contributing. Franklin as well as in the mix, Heidi Whitman, Anna Simons as well, and also just the forwards. Adrian Acosta is really doing well to get into support, and just across the board you also have Beckett Royce too, leading from the front as a player coach. So on the Northshore side of things, we got Brittany Biedenbender really doing a great job, a hometown hero as well, and just a number of different veteran players that we have for the Northshore program, and some new blood that's stepping up.
Biedenbender, a very experienced sevens player, and she's been able to show her speed on occasion here for Chicago. But again, it's Oregon in attack, and it is San Juanita who has been showing herself to be a very capable fly half for Oregon today. ORSU driving for the line, looking for one more score here early in the second half. They're now inches away, looking for good ball position, and they end up losing it. Chicago fly hacks it forward. A good chase, but Oregon now are going to be able to use their speed and counter a broken Chicago defense. Anna Simons takes the ball forward for Oregon. Some hands waving about viciously in the ruck there. A penalty as referee Haley Slaughter raises her arm. ORSU are now going to have a penalty deep in the Chicago end.
Really, Jeff, I think that exchange was all in good fun. Captain Christian Field just letting San Juanita know exactly where she's at. Just a tad bit of gamesmanship, but more all in good fun. Two good athletes competing against each other.
This game actually taking place in a remarkably high spirit, as have most of the games here at the National Championships in Madison. Overall, just a fantastic weekend. I mean, we had a player injured in our previous game, and the level of support and just warm sportsmanship that was exhibited by the players here do a great deal of pride and justice to the USA Rugby world, just in terms of the quality of the sportsmanship demonstrated here in these games, as you would expect from the rugby community. So the restart comes from Chicago, and ORSU now looking to take the ball back through their number 8, Beckett Royce. Not the quickest ball, but it hasn't made that much of a difference so far in this game. Rugby Oregon continues. ORSU moving the ball forward. That time was a quicker ball. Looking to move down the far side of the field, looking to use every ounce of space, looking to create those overlaps. And we have a mild intercept and another fly hack, but a double knock forward, so we will now have a scrum. Just going to take an opportunity to talk about try on rugby. So we're calling all girls and women. Have you thought about trying on rugby? It is your time to pick up the ball and run with it. Have you tried playing rugby yet? Do you want to? Are you currently playing, or have you hung up the boots and are looking to give back? Try on coaching or try on refereeing. Rugby is exactly what you're looking for. Check out tryonrugby.com for more information today. And Haley Slaughter has seen something she did not like, and the free kick being awarded. They're going to have to tap and go off the free kick, and they do. Chicago Northshore looking to get out of their own half here, looking to create something, looking to put pressure back on Oregon. And now comes a little more width, and now comes a little bit of an overlap. This is much better from Chicago Northshore. They have a player down in the back play. Penalty against Oregon. And Chicago taps and goes. Katie, Chicago Northshore looking a little more confident in attack now.
I think everything's starting with Dorothy Prickett. You saw had the kind of good sense to just tap and go and get go forward happening for Northshore. Really, she stepped in for Jenny Lou, who's at the top 50 camp now, and really they're getting some great momentum, a good series. This is the largest number of phases that Northshore's been able to string together so far.
A good run at the line, a skip pass, and Chicago now the victim of a very strong counter ruck from Oregon, and here comes an Oregon counterattack. San Juanita again. Very influential player. That looked very close to holding onto the ball on the ground, but the referee says play on. Now her arm comes out for a knock forward. Katie, what is the effect of these top 50 camps? So many of these clubs can take such great pride in promoting players up on to become USA Eagles, but it has to be a little bit disruptive if you come to something like the national championships and you lose 2 or 3 of your backbone players. I mean, a credit to the people who are stepping up to take those positions. It can't be an easy task.
I think it's really a great developmental opportunity for these number of younger players, especially players from places like UIC and Penn State, other programs that have a storied tradition with North Shore where they've been able to step up, and also ORSU too, the programs such as Reed College, even smaller schools where they're getting a number of college athletes. So when these top 50 players are pulled for these camps, then it gives these younger collegiate athletes a chance to play at this national level so they can be seen by the selectors.
So Kat Bigney is now on the field for ORSU, having come on as a substitution. It's about that time in the game where you'd want your impact subs to start coming on and making a difference. Not that ORSU needs to up their impact level. They've had more than enough of it in this game so far. And here comes another big ORSU break. Looking for support on the side, and they have it. ORSU are going to score again under the post, and it's Anna Simmons. She will not be caught. A one-handed touchdown. And that was just a very simple break with good support on the right shoulder. ORSU demonstrating very good supporting play there, Katie.
Certainly you're going to see Anna Simons come back and really give Beckett Royce a nice high five, let her know that she opened up the field for her and she was able to exploit that space that she created. Really, Beckett Royce, just one of the standard players here that we have in the U.S., long tradition of playing the game, and really just a veteran with a lot of experience that's able to make sure that she can still punish players that are in front of her and create space for her teammates.
This has to be everything that the Oregon rugby community and the ORSU crowd back in Oregon could have hoped for, Katie. We have some big results that they've posted: 46-5 versus the Austin Valkyries, 56 points to nothing against Denver. This game is very quickly approaching that area as we settle down for a water break here. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the Women's Premier League and the qualification for that. If in fact ORSU moves on, what is the procedure for who plays in the Women's Premier League and who does not?
Well, ORSU is no stranger to the Women's Premier League, being that they were in the inaugural year and the second year participants in that league. And as we talked about before, chose to make the choice to stay in Division I for logistical, geographical reasons. So they have the option, if they are the national champions, the top 2 teams do have the option for promotion, so they can challenge one of the WPL teams. Now, this is all what has been done in the past, and there's actually different discussion about restructuring for the women's game in the States. So it's sort of a to be continued as what will happen into next coming year.
The Women's Premier League, of course, is such an important developmental tool, along with the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista, California for USA Rugby. The entire women's rugby community, Katie, must be looking forward to the World Cup coming up in France.
Certainly they are, and those players that are watching from Greeley, Colorado right now are really putting their hopes and dreams into making that squad and getting onto that short list.
Well, we've got a few players who may be putting their hand up for USA Eagles scouts in this match. There's some very good play being put forward by Chicago Northshore here as they look to recapture a bit of momentum. Rugby Oregon holding the defensive line.
Really good defensive pressure there by ORSU, just making sure that they're pushing them forward, and they forced them to make a couple of really quick short passes, and there wasn't much option. They ran out of sideline.
So Chicago is going to have a option to kick for touch here. They benefited very, very well from that quick tap penalty, and it looks like they might do this again. In fact, that does look exactly like what they're planning to do, Katie. Quick tap coming here from Chicago Northshore. Ball in the hands of Linda Guiney, their open side. But again, the ball is turned over, and again, Oregon attack.
Great poach, good effort right there to kind of tackle Jacko over and get that ball in her hands by Beckett Royce.
So strong at the breakdown has been Oregon today. A combination of imposing themselves and turning the ball over in contact, and their backs finding space to attack out wide has led to the 36-5 score that you now see on your screens. Of course, we hope all of you are going to stay with us for our men's Division I championship match coming up just after this. New Orleans challenging Life University for the men's Division I national championship. And what a match that's going to be. Yeah, we're just going to send it down to Shannon Bustios. Shannon, what's the story on the sidelines right now?
I actually had the opportunity to overhear Coach Tisdale talk to his team at halftime and talk about, what they could do better. And one of the big things was the turnovers, and the turnovers were mostly caused by kicking the ball. They were kicking possession away, and every time they kicked possession away, ORSU definitely took advantage of it. So he told his team specifically, do not kick the ball. He said he wanted them to get there to the rucks faster. It seems like they've been doing that, pushing over a little bit. I had the opportunity to overhear ORSU, and she told her team just to keep doing what they're doing, to dig deep and keep doing what they're doing. What they were doing was capitalizing on turnover balls. So if Northshore can not give them the opportunity, then that's going to change maybe ORSU's whole game plan.
Chicago looking for gaps now, looking to prove that they too can find space, that they too can show their speed. But Oregon marshaling them very well. Another knock forward and another stoppage in play. So 27 minutes left in this one. With the score holding firm, ORSU 36, Chicago Northshore 5, here on USA Rugby TV.
We're seeing some glimpses of maybe a bit of a change in direction, as Shannon talked about. More of a possession-based game where they're really trying to eke out a couple of extra yards for Northshore. You saw Christian Field as team captain taking it up and really driving her legs, trying to get as much as she can out of the last play, and just an unfortunate knock-on resulted in the scrum that we're seeing now.
And for all kinds of young rugby players who may be watching, Katie, on a very hot day, that is really a good strategy to take as Chicago takes a big run for the line here off another quick tap penalty. A drive for the line by Chicago. Referee Haley Slaughter in good position. Chicago holding good position in contact. And a good try. Scored, and no less than they deserve, by Chicago Northshore. It's Elizabeth Bristow, the fly half, who wound up on the end of a series of short passes and a hard run for the line by her. And you're just going to see some excellent continuity here from Chicago Northshore. There's Bristow, puts her head down, backs herself, run for the line under the posts. And if they can make this conversion, it would be a good reward for them. Bristow has chosen to take this kick from further back than she otherwise might. She's under no obligation to take it from the 22-meter line. She can certainly take it from closer than that. But she's chosen to take it a little ways away, and the kick has sailed wide. So it's 36-10. Chicago Northshore has their first score here in the second half, and perhaps they can capture a little bit of momentum from this. That was certainly a well-worked try, Katie.
Absolutely. Shannon mentioned Coach Tisdale was talking about really don't kick the ball, let's keep it in hand, have more possession, and really good credit goes to the forwards that were playing. In particular, Christian Field took the ball quick, charged up. Nova Raymer picked it up, was able to get it. So a good combination, really, of just the forwards working and interacting with the back line.
Yeah, number 21, Colleen Caniff, is on the field, and she is coming in as a reserve. So more fresh leagues on the field for ORSU. Chicago, for all of their good work, will be rewarded with an opportunity to get the ball back. But as we have seen, Oregon is very, very capable on the restarts. A very high kick. Is this going to go the required 10 meters? The referee says play on, as it was touched by Chicago Northshore, and into touch the ball goes. And Katie, that was a little bit of a miscue because that ball did not look like it was about to go the required 10-meter distance.
I think it was a pretty close call. Haley Slaughter sort of trusted herself to make that decision. But really, there's not much else you can say about Becca Royce's ability to just put the high ball up, and really gives opportunities for her wings to sort of hunt it down.
A line out is scrappy, and again the ball comes back for Chicago Northshore. Elizabeth Bristow, the victim of a high tackle and a penalty now. Chicago with more ball and more possession and more attacking opportunities than they've had perhaps in the whole of this game. Now stringing possessions together in the second half, not kicking the ball away, following their coach's instructions. And now they have a bit of an overlap on the left-hand side, fighting for every yard. Haley Slaughter raises her hand, blows her whistle. We have players down and in need of attention, it does appear.
Jeff, what we're seeing is a slight shift in the sense of urgency from Chicago Northshore. We're seeing Dorothy Prickett really doing a great job to get the ball quick off the ground and make sure that she's making kind of shorter passes so it's higher percentage so that they can maintain ball possession and go forward.
I think if you're a fan of Chicago Northshore, if you're a member of their coaching staff, what you actually see is the implementation of a game plan here that is the exact same as something we saw from Rocky Gorge in one of our previous matches, starving Oregon of the ball, denying them possession, slowly grinding them down until the opportunities present themselves. And, you know, it could be the mix of a strategy that sees them climb back into this match. They only have 23 minutes to do it.
Certainly, it's a good strategy for them to just claw their way back into this game.
So we're going to take a moment right now while we have an injured player to talk about Shop USA Rugby. Eagles fans, please visit shopusarugby.com today to buy all your USA Eagles gear and support the future of USA Rugby. There on your screen you see stars like Todd Cleaver and Carlin Isles. Who wouldn't want to look like your favorite USA Rugby players, especially when you're getting out to some of the big summer tests that are coming up in places like Texas, around America, and of course online at Universal Sports and USA Rugby TV. Follow us on Twitter at USA Rugby and talk to us here today at hashtag NCS2014. Make sure you get out this summer and support your USA Eagles.
So Jeff, I know you mentioned and made the call for people to kind of tweet in and let us know who they think the MVP of the match is. Who's your MVP at this point?
Well, I think it has to be, it's a close call, but for me, San Juanita, the fly half for Oregon, has been influential. She's gotten her backs, finding space. She has a couple of tries herself. She's, very dynamic in attack. And whenever there's been a turnover, whenever there's been space, she and her back line have found it. So she would be my pick, although you could make very good arguments for some of the other Oregon players today who have had big impacts. They quite simply are the class of the game today. So it's certainly looking like we're about to see another break. And here one comes, Oregon down the right-hand side. That is Crystal Franklin herself with 2 tries on today. Oregon now looking to move the ball and knock forward. Chicago will have the opportunity here if they can gain possession. Referee Haley Slaughter letting them play, and forward they go. Good direct play by Chicago Northshore. That was the scrum half, Dorothy Prickett, trying to dart through a gap. Nova Reimer powering her way forward. Good direct play by Chicago Northshore here, and a good handoff as well by some of the Chicago forwards. They need quicker ball if they're going to organize their attack. And now they look to move the ball a little bit wide. Holding on, says Haley Slaughter. And another Chicago Northshore attack will die in a penalty.
ORSU so quick on the tackle to get to their feet to contest the ball.
Those are the kind of high-level skills that you really need if you're going to play in a competition like the Women's Premier League, isn't it, Katie? I mean, you see some of the speed on the outside, the individual brilliance of some of the Oregon backs, but it's the ability to turn over ball in the contact area, to counter ruck, to have strong body position, at the breakdown, and I think that really represents some elevated skills.
Yes, certainly, Jeff. I believe that we actually see it in all the divisions that we have here in the U.S. Number of different programs in all parts of our country. Any of those skills are really basic components of good, successful rugby programs.
Here comes another charge down the field by Oregon. San Juanita again. She is a very influential player today. What an athlete that young woman is. Looking to provide her team with an excellent attacking platform, and they have done just that. Adriana Costa takes the ball in for Oregon. There's Rachel Johnson. Oregon need to secure this ball and move it, and they do. Number 16, Kat Bigney now taking the ball in. Have Chicago turn this over. They raise their hands in frustration, and Haley Slaughter. And a quick tap by Chicago Northshore. An interesting choice as they throw the ball to the ground. Very lucky to not have it recovered by Oregon at that point. They're under pressure now in their own end, having chose to run. And the ball has been turned over by Oregon, and they look to move it wide. Wide and still wider as Juanita is caught in possession and thrown to the ground.
Fantastic front-up tackle there by Claire Herdeman.
There she is. She's been influential all day, Crystal Franklin, but caught that time. Heidi Whitman races for the try line and touches down. Another try for ORSU. And their backs continue to be the story here today. Some very, very influential runners, some dynamic running. And we continue to see that from ORSU as we have throughout the match. Replay coming up. There's Crystal Franklin.
After the conversion kick, we'll send it down to Shannon.
And Hailey Whitman with the try.
So Whitman, what you saw there was just fantastic, evasive footwork, really turning on the jets when she needed it, but doing a good job to make sure that she hits the branches and not the tree trunk. So doing exactly what she needed to do to secure some more points for her ORSU team.
Excellent IRB coach educator lingo from my broadcast partner up here in the booth. The branches and not the tree trunks was exactly what Whitman did on that last run.
She's got so much pace, too, that she's been using all day long. Really just that evasive, that really quick first step. You know, she's really doing a fantastic job for ORSU all day.
And as the kick goes wide, we're going to take it down to Shannon Bustillos on the sideline. Shannon.
It looks like Chicago might be starting to break down a little bit. They came out really strong in the second half. I don't know if it may be some of the fitness, the training, these harsh Midwest winters, what it is. It'll be interesting to see if they can dig deep and come back a little bit like we saw in the previous game with the Amazons, trying to score one and just never giving up here at the end.
Well, right you are, Shannon. I think that's how a lot of rugby teams will choose to define themselves. I mean, you know, when teams like Japan play the New Zealand All Blacks, there's not really the expectation that you win, but it's how you play the game. Do you let your heads drop once the tries start to come down on you, or do you tighten your resolve and try and perform your absolute best up into the dying minutes? Oregon continue to perform at their very best here as another break comes forward. Juanita moves the ball left, looking for space down the far side, and they have it. They need to secure ball and move it quickly as the Chicago defense is in a bit of a shambles. A huge overlap now on the right. Chicago piling in at the breakdown, trying to slow it, and they have. Adriana Costa again going in. Good counter-rucking by Chicago here. They had the ball there for a moment, and now it's come loose back on the Chicago side. Good play by Chicago Northshore, disrupting. And a loose ball is called dead by referee Haley Slaughter. 17 minutes left in this one. Please continue to give us your thoughts on the MVP of this match or anything else regarding USA Rugby's championship broadcast or even my announcing here at hashtag NCS2014.
Jeff, if we took it back about maybe 4 or 5 phases before, we saw again Acosta just all day for ORSU, really just showing her range and ability as a player, you know, for being a tight 5 forward, one that's just been all over for in terms of open field breaks, and then really doing a fantastic job of offloading it to some of the speedsters that they have on the wing.
As the heat continues to rain down and the sun begins to set here in Madison, some tired players exiting the field, and Megan Adams coming onto the field for Oregon as a substitution. So fresh legs on the field for Oregon. We mentioned some of their high scores in previous matches, 55 points in their semifinal to reach here. They're now at 41.
It's a good decision by ORSU here at this point to make a substitution for the forwards. I'm sure that they're just continually wearing down the Northshore team. At this point, they're in the driver's seat as far as the score goes, and Beckett Royce with some good decision-making capabilities said, let's get some fresh legs out there.
A good number 8 pickup at the line, but a bit of a wild offload by ORSU there. Chicago desperate to regain possession, but ORSU have recovered. Ball is a little loose on the ground. What you're starting to see is a few more bodies entering the contact area as these players begin to tire. It is a very hot day here in Madison. The sun continues to beat down.
There's Rachel Johnson with the ball, carrying it forward. She's got 2 or 3 Northshore players just hanging off of her. She's got a fantastic leg drive and a player to watch for future opportunities.
San Juanita steps, goes, looks for the outside, and it was there, but the referee's whistle blows, and Chicago will have possession. 15 minutes left. Heavy breaths beginning to come from both teams here, and Chicago Northshore calmly walks up to the mark and will look to kick for touch. All of us here have enjoyed the lovely hospitality of the people of Madison and the Madison Rugby Club, and we will bring you a word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, attention USA Rugby fans, we are excited to announce that Weetabix is the official breakfast cereal of USA Rugby. Weetabix breakfast cereal has been fueling athletes for decades. Visit www.weetabixusa.com for more information. You are what you Weetabix. That from our award-winning writing staff here at USA Rugby Television. And we move the ball left and into touch. 14 minutes left in this one. And as the stands begin to fill up here in anticipation of the men's Division I championship game between Life University and New Orleans Rugby Club, we hope that you'll stay with us too. What an incredible fixture that one portends to be. Future USA Eagles all over the field.
Jeff, we're seeing a number of supporters here for this Division I women's final as well, too.
The stands are very full, Katie, and it's a good display by both the traveling support for both of these teams and from the people of Madison, the stream of volunteers from the local women's clubs that have been out volunteering all week. And it really has been a good display and a fantastic job of hosting by Madison Rugby.
Northshore's got a bit of space on the outside if they're able to get it wide.
An encouraging run by number 17 from Chicago Northshore, and down the field she goes, caught by ORSU.
That's substitute Sherry. No, check that, sorry. Claire Herdeman for Northshore.
The workhorse for Chicago all day has been Elizabeth Bristow at 10. Try scorer herself, leader on the field, and here comes another Chicago quick tap. Brittany Kimmick takes it in. Chicago looking to establish possession, some continuity that'll take them within striking distance of the ORSU line. with 12 minutes here to go. And again, the ball goes loose. ORSU pounce, looking to turn that ball over. They look to have done so. And they have. What can they do in counterattack? There is an overlap down the left-hand side. Juanita moves the ball left, looking for space. And again, the break was there, and not for the first time. Not for the first time today was ORSU away down the field, only to be stopped by the referee's whistle. Here you see a good turnover by ORSU, the ball going to ground. Oh, an excellent break, actually, and this is by Claire Herdman. It was an excellent break and one of Chicago's finest attacking opportunities in the last while.
Herdman, just a really great little hesitation step, caught her defender off, and really was able to turn what would have been only a few yards into several.
The chant of "Let's Go Northshore" going up from the Chicago supporters here that have traveled to Madison to support their team. And they would love a Chicago try, one more before this game is over at least. And with the referee calling play back, they may just have a good attacking opportunity here. They're inside the Oregon half, within sight of the 22, and they are going to have a put into the scrum. So reserves all over the field for both sides now. What can these fresh legs do? If Chicago Northshore look up, they can see the ORSU try line ahead of them, directly in front of the post. This is a good attacking position. Katie, they can spread the defense both to the left and right. ORSU using two defenders on the far side of the field. Chicago stacking the left side here close to our broadcast booth.
I'm sure Northshore's going to stick with the game plan where they're moving the ball quicker off the ground because there's only so much time left in the game. They have to make sure that they can capitalize on any opportunities that they have. So they'll utilize the strong forward pack that they have, secure this ball, see if they can make something happen.
And a turnover. Oregon taking that one against the head and moving the ball left, looking to find gaps, looking to punch through. Good tackling from Chicago Northshore, and that one a big hit as the ball sails backwards.
Good defensive chase by Northshore, trying to push them back as far as they can beyond their gain line.
9 minutes left and no drop off in the energy level by either of these teams, but it seems like Chicago's energy level has really picked up in the last couple of minutes. Their reserves making a bit of an impact here. A good take under the high ball there by Chicago fullback Lauren Trout. And there's San Juanita again.
ORSU just too much in the counter ruck, was able to steal that ball back.
A good tick, but is that going to be out on the full? It is out on the full, and back we will come. Of course, you cannot kick the ball directly out into touch unless you're inside your own 22. That was not the case there.
Just a bit of a slight mental lapse there by ORSU, really probably just focusing on relieving some of the pressure. Northshore has put together a series of different phases that have really been challenging them. ORSU just wanting to see what they can do to get the ball to their attacking zone.
Again, Chicago handed an attacking opportunity inside the Oregon half. They will have the throw into the lineout. Can they take it cleanly? They do. A good attacking drive. And ORSU sailing backwards, a Chicago drive for the line. Screams now come from the Chicago bench as they're urging their players forward. And forward they go, now moving, switch ball. A run at the line as green jerseys pile into the ruck, looking to move it quickly. Forward they need to go, not sideways. Quick possession for Chicago Northshore as they move the ball right.
Great tackle there from Susanna Simmons.
ORSU being called back towards referee Haley Slaughter, and now back to the chalk of their own try line. A penalty and a conversation, but it appears no card. tap at the line, and Chicago, the ball has been turned over, and heartbreak for Chicago as they were literally inches away. But they have the ball back, and another opportunity presents itself. It would be great for Chicago to earn another try here. All their endeavor. And it appears that that endeavor has come to naught on that opportunity, as ORSU are going to be handed an attacking scrum deep in their own end. The last of the substitutes coming onto the field now for ORSU. It's a hot day here, ladies and gentlemen, and these athletes are continuing to give it their all in support of their clubs, playing for each other and you here on USA Rugby TV.
As fatigue starts to set in, Jeff, we're seeing a couple of more shifts in possession back and forth, and teams, if they take 1 minute, especially in the last couple of minutes here of this match, to just kind of collect themselves, it'll be helpful so they can secure opportunities to score.
Look at that, Chicago Northshore taking the ball against the head and then ushering the covering ORSU player into touch. They're going to have a line out at the 5-meter line. Powerful work from the Chicago Northshore scrum there. A small victory for them, and I'm sure one that'll make the forwards feel good. What front row doesn't enjoy taking a scrum against the head? But it appears that a forward pass was called somewhere in there. And now ORSU have been handed the ball back for another put into the scrum. Can Chicago take it again? Their forwards will certainly fancy their chances on this scrum with another big push. Put the ball in, says Haley Slaughter. The ball goes in, and here comes the drive. ORSU away off the back of the scrum. Good energy being shown by Chicago in the dying minutes of this game, really putting Oregon under pressure.
A great example of just a veteran and more of a player that's coming up in the Eagle Pool too, with Christian Field at number 8, opposing Beckett Royce, a player that's been to the last World Cup, is also acting here as a player coach for ORSU. Just a really great example of the range of talent that we've seen here today, Jeff.
It is. I think a lot of the clubs that you've seen here during the USA National Championships have a good range of youth and experience. Players who have been playing the game for many years, players who have been playing only 12 weeks in some cases. But all over the field, the players showing good quality of skill, good love for their team and their colleagues on the field, and tremendous spirit, as Chicago is certainly showing here in the dying minutes of this game, refusing to knuckle under and taking advantage here of every attacking opportunity.
19, 21, and 22 all for Chicago. 19, 21, 22.
So that's Mara Sanders, Colleen Caniff, and Melissa Levan now on the field for Chicago Northshore, as another put into the scrum and another stolen ball by Oregon, as Rachel Johnson came away with that. How much running does ORSU have left in their legs? It's been a long day, but they've never lacked for running yet. They move the ball left, looking for space, looking for the gaps that they've found throughout most of this afternoon. Not this time, says Chicago. The defensive line well set. Again, the energy level for Chicago Northshore has picked up here in the late stages. If you're a Chicago Northshore fan, you have to be happy with that. A good attacking opportunity here. That's Lauren Trout, the Chicago fullback. A little isolated, but Chicago is there in support.
ORSU just a punishing double tackle there on Lauren Trout, who's been just really having headaches all day, trying to find that breakaway point so she can utilize that speed we know she has.
Calls coming from the Chicago sideline. They want their team to go forward. They're going backward at the moment. Big hits coming in from the likes of Rachel Johnson.
Great, powerful, positive tackle there by Rachel Johnson. Pushed Northshore back a few more yards and eventually turned into a turnover.
Now Chicago starts to move forward, but how quickly can they access the ball? It comes to ground and they move it right. Oregon, they're in numbers in defense. A good step by Chicago. A bit of an overlap forming, but Chicago's going to have to organize themselves a little bit faster in offense here. The back line taking its time. Tired legs all over the field. They win another penalty, but The game has begun to tell on both of these teams. They're in the middle of the field. A kick to touch would not make sense in this situation. You're almost certain they're going to tap and go. Moving very slowly to organize their choices here are Chicago Northshore, but they want to try. They're almost certain to throw the last of their energy into this. And energy they are getting. A big step in charge from the Chicago forwards. Getting the ball quickly as a forward pod takes it up for Chicago Northshore.
Great individual effort there by Captain Christian Fiel. Oh, quick turnover there by ORSU, and the counter captain for ORSU. Now Rachel Johnson with ball in hand. She's got support.
And it's Jackie Lewis looking for the offload. Sherry Michi, ORSU there in numbers. A bit of a reversal. Referee Haley Slaughter getting caught in the mix there. Scrappy ball now as the play will be blown dead. 2 minutes left in this women's Division I championship game in Madison, Wisconsin. 2 minutes left until ORSU can do Oregon very, very proud by being named the 2014 Division I Women's National Champions. Chicago Northshore have valiantly raised their game here in the second half and put Oregon under pressure, Katie, through quite a lot of the second half here. But in the end, the story was the space that was found largely throughout the middle of this game and the wide channels and just the dynamism and speed of Oregon.
Yes, ORSU here, really just such a fantastic storybook ending here for them within the next couple of minutes. Like we said, mentioned it's the 20-year anniversary, also 40-year anniversary of their men's programs. Have strong connection to Rugby Oregon, which is the youth program, the youth state rugby organization. Also another interesting component too, they're actually in 2010, the ORSU program actually lost a teammate of theirs named Lindsay Babb, and they've been able really to use her as this sort of motivational component, something that strives them to really do as best they can to produce what we've seen today, which is an excellent spectacle of rugby.
It has been an excellent spectacle and an excellent indication as to what some of the stronger women's clubs in the United States are capable of. Certainly some spectacular efforts on the part of Oregon. Your votes for MVP have been noted up here in the booth on USA Rugby TV, and we'll be bringing you our choice for MVP just at the conclusion of this match. 30 seconds left now as Chicago have one last roll of the dice to try and up the scoreboard, and a good break by Chicago as they try to do just that. 18 seconds left. They'll have to exhibit some ball security here, but there are gaps appearing if they can just access the ball. Bodies all over the place. As referee Haley Slaughter says, play on. And where is that ball? It comes down on the Oregon side. They're now securing the ball, and if they can just get it into touch, this match will be over. It looks like they want another score. What will their choices be here? Another score may be just what they want, as Oregon is continuing to play right to the dying seconds of this game.
Jeff, just a credit to the standard here that we've seen in the Division I USA Rugby National Championship final. You see both teams, everybody just diving on the floor, doing what they can to secure possession for their team. Coming down to the last minute, there's been nothing but non-stop great action.
And what a way to finish this game up, Katie, as number 13, Anna Simmons, will score under the posts. And that will be the final word here in this national championship game. Exhilaration from the ORSU bench. Hugs all around for your 2014 Division I USA National Club Champions, Oregon Sports Union, and deservedly so.
I have to credit to Northshore for just a good contest, as we said, down to the last couple of seconds. Really never gave up, not concerned so much with the scoreboard as well as putting together a really great contest for both teams. Both teams have worked as hard as any that have made it here today to this level, and there's a fantastic standard of play we're seeing. It just keeps rising every year in Division I and all the other divisions in women's rugby in the U.S. Conversion is good there by Molly Luft.
And as Oregon stream onto the field, we're going to let some pictures paint the story as some very happy members of Oregon flood onto the pitch. We'll be back just after the medal presentations to tell you about today's MVP, and we'll let you take in some of these sights and sounds. Some big highlights being shown here of some of Oregon's finer tries throughout the day. And fine tries they were. Some really excellent back play. Some really great speed being shown, even in the latter stages of this match where lactic acid was no doubt pumping through the muscles of some of these athletes. A jubilant Oregon team. And why not? They're about to get their championship medals. Second place medals going to Chicago Northshore. And they can be very proud of that as well as their season. Some excellent results for them. Again, not allowing a single point against in their last two playoff matches before their arrival in Madison. And you can bet that Chicago is a team that will be heard from in women's rugby for years to come. This experience will help them develop players. And certainly next year, the women's rugby scene will know all about them. And teams will watch out for the likes of Chicago Northshore come playoff time. The story of today's match, Katie, was really the back three, really the back line of Oregon. The pace, the ability to find space, offloading when the time came, some of those higher level skills that you're able to execute under pressure. And today's MVP was someone who we got a little bit of traffic about on Twitter, but who played a big impact as well as her back three teammates for Oregon. And that was the fullback, Heidi Whitman. She really was an influential player and somebody who I think kind of exemplified the Oregon effort here today.
Certainly, Jeff. I mean, she was in every different opportunity when they have several phases where quick hands were happening. If she wasn't the one that was making the breaking run, it was her offloading and doing what she could to really contribute to the go-forward success that ORSU had all day. And there we see ORSU congratulating their teammate Heidi Whitman on the announcement of her being named the 2014 MVP for the USA Rugby National Championship Final. Certainly looks pleased to take on that honor. Congratulations from her teammates all around. You see Captain Tayasi Nahochi raising the trophy up. And Beckett Royce, coach and player, major contributor to the game today. Fantastic result there for ORSU and all the fans that are watching in Oregon.
Okay, we're going to go down to the field with today's MVP, Heidi Whitman. Heidi.
Hi.
How are you? Congratulations on winning the Division I Women's National Championships. Congratulations to you and your team.
Well, we are so stoked, so happy to be here. It's been a really long road for ORSU, and my God, so many battles, such a long road. So this is great. This is absolutely wonderful.
Sure, Heidi, this is Katie Worst here. Just wanted to ask you, what do you think was the key to your success today?
Oh, our key has been Beckett the entire time. That's our coach, and she has just brought this game plan and implemented it that no other club has been able to do or compete against. We're playing this game that's levels above any other team. It's just crazy. So, I mean, yeah, Beckett has made it easy for us.
I'm sure it's a fantastic opportunity to have your coach on the field with you, so when you're making those decisions, I'm sure it's very helpful.
Yeah, we massage her before every game to make sure that she's still able to get out there and move her bones. Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, her longevity in the game is pretty exceptional.
She's an icon.
So as a whole, just if you could tell me a little bit about what this means to your club as a Oregon Rugby Sports Union club as a whole. What's it going to be like when you bring this trophy home?
Well, this is actually a club anniversary year, 40th for the club as a whole, 20th for ORSU women, and so this is just going to cap everything. It's going to be wonderful to add this to our trophy case and celebrate at our end of the year banquet here in a week or two.
Sure. If there was anyone that you'd like to make a dedication to or any sort of final words, was there anything that really spurred you on throughout this championship campaign?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, we certainly have a lot of old ladies, so every game we're just hang in there. One more game, guys. One more game. We can do it. So that was, kind of looking forward to our aging years. That's just always spurring us on, I guess.
Fantastic, Heidi. Well, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes to go ahead and celebrate with your team, and you've done a fantastic job. Congratulations to you on your MVP award, and fantastic. Have a great time celebrating.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was MVP Heidi Whitman of the 2014 champion team from Oregon. We're going to take a little break here, but we're going to be back with our Division I men's championship game, New Orleans versus Life University. Stay with us here on USA Rugby TV.